that physicality and give themselves a chance at what could be a big win with an opportunity to stay in that third place spot in the North Star Athletic Association today. That's the setup we have for you. And again, we're watching closely the matchup that's going on in women's play out in Dickinson as the Viking women, after losing to Dakota State today, are hoping for a win for Bellevue, but the Bruins will have to come back to do it after they were out to a big deficit to start the season, or start the game rather, at 14-0. At last report, that was a 9-point game in favor of Dickinson State as they approached halftime. We'll keep you up with scores on that one. If Dickinson State wins, that game with the Vikings on Thursday matters. If Dickinson State loses that game, the Vikings have home court advantage sewn up in the opening round of the tournament. We're set to go for men's play. We'll come back with our starting lineups in basketball. We'll also take a look at that senior class for the Vikings as well. 8 men are going to leave this Viking basketball program after the year as we celebrate Senior Day today here at Valley City State. This is Viking basketball, the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOBC.
If you're the hard-working kind, you probably need some daily workwear. Smith Lumber Home Center understands. Smith Lumber Home Center is proud to be a Wrangler dealer. Since 1947, Wrangler has been a genuine source for comfortable jeans and apparel. They also have Justin boots with handcrafted quality using the finest leathers. That's not all. They carry Walls workwear, Reed boots, and wool socks. Told you they got you covered when it comes to daily workwear. Smith Lumber Home Center, your store for everyone on East Main, Valley City.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Lockout Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue at 701-845-6938 or James M. Lockout at CPA 701-845-1660. Services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, and securities offered through Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA and SIPC.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com. As we get ready for the game today, the Viking men's basketball program is doing a nice job acknowledging parents and players of the players that are going to be leaving the program due to this being Senior Day today here at Valley City State. And both the parents are having an opportunity to come out along with the players that are out there as well. And they're introducing every one of the players today, and they're bringing the parents out along with the players as well, which is a really nice touch here at Valley City State, kind of showing the family part of what happens here at Valley City State University. The Vikings will have 8 players leaving the program after this season. That's a lot of numbers to have to replace, but Edmund Oyette, Hunter Sand, Duth Gotch, Devontae Munson, Tate Hebrink are all seniors by eligibility. And then beyond that, Matthew Schlottman, also Keaton Quilvang and Will Tingham are juniors by eligibility, but obviously seniors in a situation where you have the extra COVID year that came in where school continued if basketball didn't. And so in the long run, the Vikings are going to have 8 players that will depart the program. And you know what's really nice as we watch this, Hunter Sand's parents are here. Hunter Sand is from Pekin, North Dakota. Edmund Oyette's parents are not here. He's from Mankato, Minnesota. And so Hunter Sand's mom and dad escorted Hunter Sand out here and then raced back to the line because Edmund Oyette's parents cannot be here. And they escorted Edmund Oyette onto the floor as well to get his acknowledgement, which is really kind of a cool deal. And now Devontae Munson will come out with a couple of students, I believe, here at Valley City State to be acknowledged by the group as well. And it's really nice the way that they're putting this together and the crowd coming together to give these players a hand. And obviously Devontae's having a great season here at Valley City State this season. And so the Vikings in this situation right now looking for a big win over Dakota State to try to avenge a loss that took place down in Dakota State 75-70 earlier in the season. Tate Hebrink's going to come out with his sister, Elise Hebrink, along with his mom and dad, and Elise, a Viking women's basketball player. She's still in uniform at this point. And then, as we mentioned, Matt Schlottman and Duth Gotch will be acknowledged as well here as Vikings to wrap up the Senior Day festivities. We're waiting for a score update from Dickinson State basketball with Bellevue. Again, for those of you that are Vikings fans, we're waiting for the women's result of that one, as the Vikings will get home court advantage if Dickinson State is beaten by Bellevue today. However, Bellevue started off down 14-0 in that game. It didn't score until late in the opening quarter, but they have come back here in this situation to cut it to at 1.9. We'll get a score update for you on that one. Earlier games in women's play, Mayville State defeats Waldorf by a score of 95-67, and Presentation College was in a tight one with Viterbo. We don't have a final result in on that one as of yet. The Vikings were beaten in our opening game of the doubleheader today in women's play by a final score of 82-52 by Dakota State. We'll take one final break in our pregame report, brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City. Here for all and here for good, as the Vikings acknowledge their 8 players that will be departing the program. Our starting lineups are next. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
February is the month of love and romance. Get creative with a gift for your loved one from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, your community Health Mart pharmacy. Browse and discover all kinds of gifts for him and her. The flu and cold season is here. For all your healthcare needs and prescriptions, see your trusted healthcare resource, Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, downtown Valley City. Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
This is Dr. Ryan Lorenz, physical therapist at Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, with offices in Enderlin, Lisbon, Gwinner, and Valley City. Our mission is to provide exceptional physical and occupational therapy by highly skilled therapists to minimize pain and maximize mobility, which quickly allows you to return to the quality of life you desire. We will evaluate and educate you on your condition, review treatment options, and create an effective treatment plan to solve your impairments based on your unique situation and needs. I invite you to call our offices at Mobility Plus today.
Why choose professional eye care centers? Let me count the whys. First, there are now 4 great doctors to see: Dr. Frank, Dr. Freilich, Dr. Jangula, and now welcoming Dr. Bond. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, and Edgeley. And finally, their fantastic frame selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
Welcome back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse as we get set for the starting lineups for our men's matchup this afternoon. A score update from Dickinson. They're getting back underway. Second half of that matchup, Dickinson State leading Bellevue University in women's play by a score of 40-33. The Blue Hawks led by a 14-0 score to get that game started, and Dickinson State has seen that lead cut in half at the halftime break, and the Vikings need that right now. The Vikings need Bellevue to come back and win that matchup to try to net home court advantage. That would turn a game on a Thursday into a game that wouldn't mean a whole lot for the Viking women, and that would be obviously a nice thing for the Viking women to be able to sit back, rest some players a little bit, and put themselves in position to host in the opening round of that North Star Athletic Association tournament. We'll keep you up to date. Again, Bellevue trailing by 7 at the break, and we need Bellevue to win by a score of 40-33. All right, now it's time for a look at our starting lineups for today's matchup in men's play as the Viking men take on Dakota State University. Dakota State coming into the matchup today in men's play at 5-7 in the league, 11-15 overall. The Vikings 7-5 in the conference, tied for third, and 14-12 overall. Dakota State University will start them this way: Chris Morales at guard, a 6-foot sophomore from T, South Dakota. Sam Muller, a 6'4 sophomore from Layton, Utah. And Deshaun Kelly, a 6'3 senior from Seattle, Washington. The forwards will be Gavin Strand, a 6'2 freshman from Rapid City, South Dakota. And Ronnie Ladding, a 6'9 sophomore from Lemon Grove, California. Gary Gardner, in his 14th season, they're playing for him, as Gary Gardner has announced that he will retire at the end of the season as the longtime head coach at Dakota State University. He is the head coach of the Trojans today. For the Vikings, Caden Rickard at guard, a 6-foot sophomore from Fargo, North Dakota. And Duth Gotch, a 6'5 senior from Austin, Minnesota. Devontae Munson at guard as well, a 6'3 senior from Roseville, Minnesota. And also at guard, Tate Hebrink, a 6-foot senior from Austin, Minnesota. And Hunter Lyman in the middle, 6'8 sophomore from West Fargo, North Dakota. The Vikings are under 7th-year head coach Ryan Montgomery. 5 wins out of the last 7 for Valley City State. Can they make it 6 out of their last 8 in conference play? And again, the big matchup to watch early today will be Ronnie Ladding inside for Dakota State, 270-pounder. How Hunter Lyman, The sophomore from West Fargo matches up with him. Hunter Lyman's had a very good second half of his season for Valley City State. And we'll see if Lyman, who got nice and physical last night, had a big night rebounding the basketball against Bellevue, can stand up to that challenge today with a 270-pounder from Dakota State in the middle. Lyman will take the jump for the Vikings in their Cardinal today. And in white, Dakota State's Ronnie Ladding will take the jump, and Ladding will control the basketball to the backcourt off the tip and find Sam Muller. Muller to the near side, Deshaun Kelly on the wing, back to Muller. The Vikings drop back in their matchup zone. A long look by Muller into the interior, not able to find the window he was looking for. Chris Morales a stop at the top of the key. Back to Kelly on the right side. He drives up to the corner. A stop into Ladding, back down to the baseline for Muller. Muller dribbling around a defender, pulls up on a high arcing jump shot and hits from 7 feet away. Sam Muller's first two. Dakota State attacks the Viking zone and scores, and it's 2-0 in favor of the Trojans. Devontae Munson front court, working right side, hard take, scoop, layup. Munson continues to shine. The leading scorer for the Vikings at 14 points per game, 5 rebounds as well. He was a player of the week in the conference a couple of weeks ago, and the Vikings are tied at 2 with Dakota State. Morales left side for the Trojans on the far sideline. A stop and a look for Morales. He'll swing it back to the right side for Gavin Strand into Ladding in that high post against Lyman. Steps left, spins right, pulls up, falling away, misses, and Lyman comes down with a rebound. There's the first opportunity to watch the matchup of big men today, and it's a +1 for Lyman on the take as the Vikings come away. Caden Rickard to the glass, and that time Lannigan from help side blocked the shot off the glass. We see a whistle from the far side of the floor, and a foul coming up against the big man for Dakota State, Ronnie Ladding. That's a big play to go the Vikings' way, and Caden Rickard is on his way to the foul line for the Vikings, looking to give Valley City State the lead. That's an early foul against Dakota State's post player, and you can't overemphasize the effort that it takes to get Ronnie Ladding in foul trouble. He's so good at holding his position inside. To get one on him early, it's a big opportunity for the Vikings. First foul shot for Rickard doesn't fall. The second one does. Caden Rickard will give the Vikings their first lead today. It's 3-2 Valley City State. Morales for the Trojans, looking out in the middle of the floor for Gavin Strand. He steps up, no look, left side, Muller, baseline pull-up, and he hits it about the same range, different spot. Sam Muller with a couple of 6-7 footers off the dribble to score, and it's 4-3. The Vikings find themselves back down one. Duth Gotch handing off for Lyman in the high post. He'll hand it back to Caden Rickard on the flex to the right. Rickard off the back dribble for 3. That's short, and the rebound to Muller for Dakota State, who's been the go-to player so far for the Trojans. It's 4-3 in favor of Dakota State, nearly 2 minutes in to the opening half of basketball. Trojans back in the front court. Morales a stop. Looking right corner to Ronnie Ladding. Back out to Morales against the Vikings 2-1-2 matchup. Stop, looking left side. Gavin Strand on the wing, taking a bounce pass from Morales and flies for 3. That's off the backboard and nothing else. Duth Gotch has the rebound for the Vikings. Valley City State back up front. Gotch backing out to the left wing. Muller's the defender. A screen, it's jumped. Hunter Lyman rolls in. He gets fouled on the screen and roll. He'll go to the foul line as Gavin Strand had to come over from help side and make sure he didn't go to the glass easy. Strand with his first. Great play there. Screen set as Muller was the defender. Lyman came out, set the screen, and Ronnie Ladding, the defender, on Lyman, overcommitted jumping that screen. That allowed Lyman to roll to the basket, and Lyman will pick up 1 of 2 from the foul line for sure for his effort. First foul shot's good for Hunter Lyman. Lyman is 65.8% shooter. Transfer out of Minnesota Crookston. Second foul shot trickles around and won't fall down, and Muller comes down with another rebound for Dakota State. We're even at 4. With 17:50 to play here in the opening half. Morales a cautious dribble up to the time stripe and swings to Gavin Strand on the right sideline. Strand to stop, back to left side for Morales. He'll be defended by Devontae Munson with some pressure. Now Strand on the right side, back again to Morales. He'll pop for 3 from long range and missed it. Rebound weak side to Caden Rickard for the Vikings. Valley City State doing a nice job of denying the offensive rebounds early. Rickard a kick. Munson sets right corner. 3 on the way. Good for Devontae Munson. He's got 5. That's his spot in the right corner, right in front of the Vikings student section during the opening half. And the Vikings take a 3-point lead at 7-4. Gavin Strand right side into Ladding. He'll square up, then kicks left side to 3 by Deshaun Kelly off the heel of the rim. But an O board for Ladding. Drives back to the basket. Lyman blocked his shot from behind. Ladding goes sprawling off beyond the baseline. Muller comes up with a loose basketball for the Trojans, and Lyman comes over the top and gets a body on Sam Muller. Lyman did a nice job against Ronnie Ladding, but Muller comes up with another rebound, and Sam Muller has been strong so far for Dakota State. That should be his 3rd rebound of the opening half, and he's going to the line looking for points number 5 and 6. as he was fouled in the act of shooting in that situation. So the Vikings having a hard time accounting for Sam Muller. First foul shot for Muller is good. He's got 5 points on the day. They have Muller for 2 rebounds officially on the live stats, but we'll see if they pick up another one here in a couple of moments. Second foul shot is good. Muller has all 6 Dakota State points, and the Vikings have their lead trimmed to 1. It's now 7-6 in favor of Valley City State. Just over 3 minutes gone by here in the opening half. A step to the right side by Devontae Munson. Another high bank shot missed. He battles for his own rebound. It's loose. Munson got it back. It goes back to the basket. And he's talking a little bit with Muller. He's talking a little bit with Lanning. He went over both of them to pull down the bucket. And Devontae's got 7 on senior night, playing perhaps his final home game for Valley City State. Certainly the final home game in the regular season. Lanning inside, high-low, and he goes up and scores. The long pass from Gavin Strand, and Ronnie Lanning jumping up inside, finishing. It's 9-8. The Viking lead cut back to 1. Rickard to the glass with a scoop layup. He'll score. Caden Rickard coming up the floor, going coast to coast and answering for the Vikings. It's 11-8. Valley City State by 3 in the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard with 16 minutes to play here in the opening half. Muller out of the right corner, and a drive down the baseline will net a blocking foul against Caden Rickard. Rickard trying to induce the charge, but Muller had a good step moving towards his right along the baseline, and Rickard has his first personal. Each team will make some changes. Lanning will come out getting a break. Dakota State will go to Ethan Dameron, a 6'10 sophomore from Shropshire, UK. And the Vikings had a good run against Dameron the first time around they played against him. So with Lanning out, Dakota State does lose some firepower on the inside. Deshaun Kelly to Muller, that's picked off. Tate Hebrink steps in front of the passing lane, forcing the turnover. He'll play it out to Devontae Munson, who wants to run, and he threw it away. Deshaun Kelly grabbed the basketball. He'll lose it to Gavin Strand, then lobs it up the floor to Muller underneath. He got Joe Owens on a head fake, and then the shot was blocked by Eben Oyette. Joe Owens comes away with the takeaway, and the Vikings are back into the front court after the teams trade turnovers. 11-8, Vikings by 3. We mentioned Eben Oyette and Joe Owens, both in the game. Their lines in a moment. Owens hard take to Oyette in the corner. Back to Tate Hebrink out in the right wing. Hebrink driving, backdoor cut to Duth Gotch, picked off, taken away by Dameron. He'll release, and to the basket, Muller misses a layup. He went looking for a dunk and came up short at his jump, adjusted and missed it. A 3 the other way by Duth Gotch in transition is short. And a lack of execution for both teams has marred the last couple of minutes of the game. It's still 11-8, Valley City State by 3. Edmund Oyette, 6'3 senior from Mankato, Minnesota in the game. Down low to Muller in the post. He'll score, taking the pass from Dameron in the high-low, and Sam Muller has got 8 points for the Trojans. The lead again cut to 1 for the Vikings at 11-10. We mentioned that also in the game, Joe Owens, fabulous sophomore at 6'6 from DeKalb, Illinois. Owens has it back to the basket, head fake, pulls up strong off the glass and scores. The physicality of Joe Owens and his ability to move with the basketball make him a very difficult player to match up with. He can go 4, he can go 5, he can also go 3. Right now he's defending Dameron in the middle of that 2-1-2 zone for the Vikings. Dameron high post for Dakota State, spinning left, getting down to the block, turning it back to Gavin Strand. A head fake and off to Morales on the left wing. Reversal back to Dameron, and now Strand again, and a 3 from the top is wild. Rebound Edmund Oyette for Valley City State. The Vikings on the run, leading by 3. It's Oyette on the wing, turning back to Devontae Munson. Little jab step, but he lost the basketball on a strong dribble. He'll pick it up, deflected back to Duth Gotch, and the Vikings go to work with half the shot clock gone. Tate Hebrink out in the circle, working right side on a flex, comes back to Oyette in the wing. Joe Owens will take a ball from Duth Gotch on the top of the key. Devontae Munson back to Oyette, stepping in the lane. Turn, looking to redirect right side. Hebrink on the way for 3. It's an empty air ball, but Devontae Munson over the top of Gavin Strand with an offensive rebound. He lands and finishes for his 9th, and the Vikings take a 15-10 lead on the strength of 9 early points from Devontae Munson, who's playing like a man possessed for the Vikings in what could be that final home game for Valley City State in his career. Gavin Strand to the right side. Deshaun Kelly, baseline move for Dakota State, ran into Owens, ended up leaving the ball empty, and Edmund Oyette forces a takeaway for the Vikings as the ball went loose in the post. Devontae Munson up the floor in transition, leans into a 6-footer and draws a foul. And the Vikings will have a chance at a 3-possession lead as they go to the foul line on the second foul of the game against Gavin Strand. It's the 3rd team foul against Dakota State in the opening half. The Vikings are set to make a rash of changes as well. We'll see Caden Rickard returning. Cleveland Bedgood and Hunter Sand will come in for their first minutes. Devontae Munson has a 10-point game in the first 6 minutes and 44 seconds as he knocks down the front end of 2 foul shots. We'll see the return of Ronnie Ladding for Dakota State. Munson's back at the line, and number 2 on the way. That one rolls in as well, and Munson has 11. Cleveland Bedgood will step in for Devontae Munson. Bedgood, a 6'3 junior out of Miami, Florida, transfer. Hunter Sand, one of those seniors acknowledged tonight. A 6'3 senior from Pekin comes into the game. And we will see a timeout for Dakota State before we go further. The Trojans will call for a stoppage, down 7 early. On the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, it's 17-10 Vikings. A Mobility Plus rehabilitation timeout sends us to a pause. You're listening to Viking Basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Don't leave your wiring to chance. Plug into your number 1 electrical source, Highline Electric. They're the experts in residential, commercial, and industrial electrical work. No cutting corners at Highline Electric. Call 845-0731. They'll give you a free estimate before any work is done. Family owned since 1986 with Chad and Tracy Zahn. And I promise, the price won't shock you. Highline Electric in Valley City. Call 845-0731. Building a reputation of integrity and quality.
Dakota State uses a timeout as the Vikings have taken an early 7-point lead. Welcome back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. The Vikings earning a 3-way tie for 3rd in the conference last night with a win over Bellevue. They're trying to back it up. Headed into the final game of the season next week against Dickinson State. They lead Dakota State 17-10 with 7 minutes of the game gone by in the opening half. Trojan basketball out of their timeout. Chris Morales with the basketball to the top of the key. Muller into the block. New post player in. Ben Hoverson trying to back his way down the baseline. He turned it around on the baseline, and Cleveland Bedgood snared away a pass. The Vikings force another turnover. They're in the front court. Caden Rickard handing to Hunter Sand. He'll flex in and kicks to Owens. A long distance jumper. Not really Owens' shot. He misses it short. And Ronnie Ladding, their big 270-pound post player, comes up with a rebound for Dakota State. Still a 7-point Viking lead. No look down low, and Edmund Oyette stepped in front of a pass for Sam Muller. The Vikings have cut off the baseline, and that's 4 possessions in a row where the Trojans turn it over. Oyette back into the front court, finding Caden Rickard out between the circles. Vikings going to work, looking for a 9 or 10-point lead. A screen is jumped. Rickard rotates to Oyette. Right corner 3 for Edmund Oyette is good. 3-point shot for Edmund Oyette out of the right corner again in front of that Viking student section who gets into it. The Viking fans are liking it. They have a 10-point lead over Dakota State at 20-10 after 8 minutes of the game. Near side of the floor, Deshaun Kelly off some pressure from Cleveland Bedgood. Reverses to Morales on the top of the key. Now Muller on the left wing defended by Oyette. Muller getting free, dribbling in, kicking out. Hoverson a right corner 3 off the front of the rim, and a rebound foul coming up. They may ticket Oyette late. Trying to make a breakout to a loose basketball. May have put a hand on the back of Sam Muller. Oyette's first. It's the 3rd against Valley City State in the opening half. A little better than 8 minutes into the game, and the Trojans will reclaim possession after the foul by Valley City State. It works to Deshaun Kelly on top. Kelly has the ball poked away from behind by Hunter Sand, snared him from behind, sent the ball out of bounds. It doesn't work as a turnover, but Ryan Montgomery, the head coach of the Vikings, stands up off the bench and gives Hunter Sand a high five for knocking the ball away. This is Viking basketball, forcing the turnovers that they have, and they have Dakota State perplexed over the last few minutes, and there's another turnover forced. Hunter Sand goes up the floor to Joe Owens, who will flush it hard with a 2-hand slam. Owens knocked it away. Sand picked up the ball, kicked it up the floor to Owens. Another timeout by the Trojans, and listen to this Viking crowd come to life as the Vikings take a 22-10 lead. The Trojans call for the stoppage with the Vikings up 12 and 11:33 to play on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball.
No matter where you live, you should have access to high-quality health care. Jamestown Regional Medical Center's orthopedic and sports medicine team offers care for hips, shoulders, knees, and toes. When an injury occurs, teams need care quickly. That's why the JRMC orthopedic team promises same-day and next-day appointments. Schedule direct at jrmcnd.com or call 952-4878.
Jamestown Regional Medical Center will never stop building for you.
This is Amy Heim, nurse practitioner with Sanford Health. Well child checks are important visits for children of every age. Yearly well child checks are recommended for children 3 and older and more frequently for those younger than 3. It is at these visits that growth, development, and preventative care are addressed in an effort to keep children as healthy as possible. Recommended immunizations are also discussed and provided at these visits. Call 742-3267 to schedule at your local Sanford Health Clinic in Ellendale, Foreman, Gwinner, Lemoore, Lisbon, or Oaks.
Some numbers after 8.5 minutes of the opening half, and here's the big one. 6 Dakota State turnovers in the first 8.5 minutes. That's playing into the Vikings' hands, and they have a 12-point lead at 22-10 over Dakota State as we get restarted after 2 timeouts from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Lanning is double-teamed in the right block for Dakota State. Turns it back to the top, and Morales will cast a 3 and hit it, and that breaks up the run for the Vikings. The lead will be cut to 9 at 22-13. The Vikings had 7 points off of turnovers in the first 8.5 minutes, leading to the spike to put them up by 12. The lead currently 9 after the Morales 3. Bedgood from the foul line. Jump shots off the heel of the rim, and Morales with a loose ball rebound for the Trojans. They're back within 9, and the Trojans back into the front court. A stop by Deshaun Kelly. Ball deflected loose. Lanning comes out to get it. Hard take to the basket. Missed it strong, and the rebound comes down with Joe Owens, who wants to run 3-on-2. Bounce pass to Oyette. Redirects to the perimeter. There's Rickard looking to stab a 3, and he hits it. Transition 3 after Owens knocked it away and turned it back to Caden Rickard for a wide open look. And the Vikings go back up 12 at 25-13, nearing the halfway point of the opening half. To the foul line, Ronnie Ladding backing his way in. Ben Hoverson in the right corner against Rickard. That's a mismatch, but Hoverson will turn it back out to the perimeter. Ladding squaring up on Owens, pulls up from 6, missed it strong, and Owens comes down with the board, and a quick kick out to Edmund Oyette on a bounce. Oyette running the floor, took an extra step, that may be whistled. No, a foul. That looked like it was going to go against Oyette on a travel, but they'll say some contact from Morales first will lead to a foul. Chris Morales has his 4th for Dakota State, and Edmund Oyette will shoot foul shots. This Viking team, 5 of their front rotation men have plus 70% foul shooting numbers on the season, a place where they'll probably be fairly strong going into the stretch as Edmund Oyette knocks down his 4th. On his first foul shot today. Oyette 73%, Caden Rickard 73.7, Duth Gotch 78.9, Devontae Munson 73.3, and Tate Hebrink, who doesn't get there a lot, but when he does, he executes at 80.5%. The second is no good for Edmund Oyette. That will leave him with 4. And the rebound to Deshaun Kelly for Dakota State. The Viking lead is 13. 26-13, Valley City State at the halfway point with 10 minutes to play. Squaring up Hoverson on the foul line. A turn, they try to get rid of it. Back in is Ethan Damerum in the post as well. Damerum gets it, kicks to Morales, a 3 well offline, but it's caught and stuck up by a new man, Ethan Slodog, a 6'4 sophomore from Hayfield, Minnesota, just checked in on the last break. Doesn't get a ton of minutes, but Slodog will score, just catching an air ball playing center field. It turns into a pass, and it will finish to make it an 11-point game for the Vikings. Bedgood, baseline drive, kicking out right corner. Oyette all day to look at it, hits it from the right corner. 7 points for Edmund Oyette. Another 3 for the Vikings. They've hit 4 in the opening half, and the Vikings are up 14 on Dakota State at 29-15. Deshaun Kelly into the foul line. Damerum squaring up, looking left, dribbling on Owens. Behind the back pass down to the baseline for Slodog. Back to Damerum, and his jumper with one hand is off the heel of the rim. That looked awkward. Ball back to the Vikings. Oyette to the baseline. Owens a back dribble, and Hunter Sand a deep 3. That comes off the front of the rim. Roof might have come off had that one gone down, but Morales comes away with a rebound. And the Trojans are back up front. Damerum, right elbow, spinning his way in the lane on Owens. Coming back to his left hand, now back to his right, back to his left. Double pivot again and missed it. Rebound to Caden Rickard. Joe Owens held his ground well. Rickard into the front court for the Vikings, looking to push the lead. 16-17 are the possibilities here. And Rickard is fouled after a double-team ball pressure leads to Damerum getting out of position. Damerum's first. It's the 5th against Dakota State. Ronnie Ladding back in the game. Again, Damerum out there, when we saw him against the Trojans back in the early part of the conference season, they just have a little bit of a step away from what the big body of Ronnie Ladding can do for you in that position. And right now, the longtime head coach from Dakota State, Gary Garner, is over coaching up Ethan Damerum, trying to keep his confidence up as Ronnie Ladding comes back into the game for him. Tate Hebrink for the Vikings, giving back to Devontae Munson, who returns as well for Valley City State. Oyette driving in, got to the glass, missed it. Lyman and O'Board, a putback. He was fouled, will go to the line, and if it's Ladding from behind, that's all kinds of trouble for Dakota State. It will not be. The Trojans got a break as Chris Morales will pick up his second. It'll put Hunter Lyman on the foul line. Lyman with some good numbers early. He's been rebounding the ball well against that bigger Ronnie Ladding. Sam Muller, who had the solid run, he's got 8 points already for the Trojans, is back at the table, ready to come back in. Lyman has his second point of the day, now 2 of 3 from the foul line as he hits the front end. We'll see Gavin Strand back in the game. Morales has to sit with that second foul. Ethan Slodog will come off as well. Ben Hoverson, who checked in earlier for the Trojans, is a Grand Forks, North Dakota kid. He played for Central High School just a couple of hours from here, a 6'6 sophomore. The second foul shot for Lyman is good. He's got 3 of 4 the line. The Vikings have a 16-point lead at 31-15. Strand inside. Hoverson down low, trapped. Turns it back to Strand in the left corner, who runs away from Devontae Munson. Another no-look, another steal. Oyette swipes one on the baseline, plays it out to Devontae Munson, who goes to the glass and scores in transition. Another takeaway leads to another transition bucket, and the Vikings have an 18-point lead at 33-15. Nearly another steal as Muller takes a pass up for grabs. He'll turn it back to the perimeter. Little step inside for Kelly, down to Ladding, and he'll finish, who got loose inside. Ronnie Ladding coming back to his left hand. The Vikings sort of cleared the way after they saw the steal coming. That gave Ladding the chance. Deuce Gotch, a backdoor cut. Mishandles, kicks it back to Oyette. Back dribble in 3 that comes off no good. Strand comes up with the rebound for Dakota State. Trojans back within 16, looking to climb back into it with 7:25 to play. Muller, a baseline jumper. There he is again. That's a double-figure night for Sam Muller for Dakota State. This time on the baseline from 10, and that's been his preferable range tonight, somewhere between that 7 and 10-foot spot. 33-19, the Viking lead cut to 14 on the LaRue Lockout Financial scoreboard with 7:05 to play until the break. A stop into the lane by Devontae Munson. Out to the wing for Hebrink, a stop-and-go dribble. Deuce Gotch, left corner 3. That'll go down. Another one of those seniors, Deuce Gotch, stepping into a 3. The Vikings get an answer. They're back up 17. Ladding coming up with a long pass up the floor out in the perimeter, and now he'll take his spot inside as the Trojans are just looking to break the pressure any way they can. Hoverson pulls up on the baseline and misses. Devontae Munson, weak side board. He's got a 3-on-2. Up the floor, Oyette to the glass. Missed it. Lyman follows and taps it back in. Valley City State's big man getting back and making something happen. Long pass to Muller, driving in on Hebrink. Turn, fall away on the baseline. That nibbles in again for Sam Muller. He has a dozen first-half points for the Trojans, and the rest of the team does not have 9. Or correction, they do have 9 now. 38-21. The lead 17 in favor of Valley City State after Muller's put back for Dakota State. Top of the key, Munson, left corner, another 3 for Deuce Gotch. That one's strong. Rebound sends out to the perimeter. Hunter Lyman runs it down offensively. Now it's Oyette for 3. That rolls off. And this time Deshaun Kelly will come down with a rebound for Dakota State. 6 minutes to play opening half. The Vikings by 17. Dakota State back in the front court looking for an answer. Hoverson, right block, hit by a double team. Follow-away jump shot in the baseline, well short. Oyette comes up with the board. Here come the Vikings back into the front court, and they've been playing freely as of late. Here's Munson casting for 3, right corner. That's in and out, hit both ends of the rim. Would not go down. Sam Muller has the basketball for Dakota State. 5.5 to play. Muller into the front court, taking the ball back. Wraps it down low for Ladding to the glass. He missed another look inside. Ronnie Ladding's had 2 of those inside tonight where they won't go down at nearly point-blank range. And the Vikings dodge a bullet. They're back in the front court, and a 3-point play would put them up by 20 in the first half. Top of the key, Munson working right. Crossover dribble attacking Kelly. Slashes in to the glass. He was fouled, and he'll go to the line. Deshaun Kelly had hands on him well at the start of that drive. Deshaun Kelly had to put a forearm out really right around the elbow, and Devontae Munson had no problem just riding that arm all the way to the glass and getting an opportunity. And Munson to the foul line. He's 2 of 2 so far tonight. First one on the way is good for Devontae. Devontae now with 14 points in the opening half of basketball. The Vikings take a 39-21 lead, and they're off to the races. Valley City State nearing the 40-point mark with a good 5 minutes and change to go in this first half. Second foul shot for Munson won't fall. The rebound comes down the hands of Deshaun Kelly, and now Dakota State wants to speed things up. Gavin Strand running into the front court, finding Muller, back door. They look down for a baseline cut from Ethan Slothog. It went through his hands. Morales comes up with a takeaway for Dakota State, kicks to Muller from the elbow. Jumper well short, and this time Hunter Lyman swallows up the rebound. And the Vikings come away, turning away Dakota State again. Right side, Deuce Gotch, baseline drive to the basket, tried to dunk it, came out of his hands, but it rolled through. Deuce Gotch with 5, and now the Vikings will call for timeout as the lead grows to 20 for Valley City State. 4:45 left of the opening half on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. The Vikings 41, the Trojans 21. We have a timeout from Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
The good news for Dakota State is since the last time out, they've only turned it over once. They had 6 turnovers in the first 8.5 minutes, and the Vikings have committed just 2, but the Vikings shooting 52% from the field, including 5 of 14 from the three-point line. And the Vikings lead 41-21 with 4:35 to play after a timeout by Valley City State. Gavin Strand for 3, no good. The rebound fight won by Cleveland Bedgood. The rebounding numbers are going to be a big deal in this one today, as the Vikings have done well. 18-16, the Vikings have 5 offensive rebounds, but they've done a nice job of really curing what ails them, as Joe Owens takes a hand check on his way to the basket and will be fouled by Dakota State's Ethan Slothog. This is a Viking team that consistently gets out-rebounded by the competition. They are negative 3.5 in rebound advantage throughout the course of the season, or rebound margin, we should say. And we've talked with Ryan Montgomery about it before. He does treasure that part of the game. They play the zone, what makes it difficult to rebound out of. Joe Owens first on the 1-for-1 penalty. He misses it, and Gavin Strand comes down with the rebound. But the Vikings just being able to stay even or even outperform the team by 1 or 2 is a turnaround for what they typically get done. Deshaun Kelly driving to the basket. He was left alone, and Kelly with his first 2 for Dakota State, using the left hand over the front of the rim. 41-23, the Vikings have their lead trimmed to 18, under 4 minutes to play of the opening half. Bedgood on the top of the key for the Vikings, stepping to the foul line. A turnaround follow-away jump shot short. Rebound trickles out of bounds, and will go back to Dakota State. A LaRue-Laco scoreboard update in women's play out in Dickinson. Dickinson State leading Bellevue 68-59 halfway through the fourth quarter. Again, the Vikings need a Bellevue victory in women's play to net the Viking women home court advantage in the opening round of the tournament. A backdoor is too strong. Looking for the cut from Ethan Slothog. A high-low pass from Sam Muller will sail out of bounds. The Viking men will get it back. If Dickinson State holds on for the victory there, then the Vikings go to Dickinson State, the end of the regular season. That game is scheduled for Thursday. It always has been. That's the end of the year. But that game then matters a lot. Joe Owens driving in off the glass. He'll score. Taking the bump from Deshaun Kelly, just absorbing the blow. Kelly goes flying back, and Joe Owens has 6. The Vikings are back up 20. 43-23 in favor of Valley City State as we approach the 3-minute mark of the opening half. Muller looking back door to that left side again. They've tried that a lot tonight, has Dakota State. It hasn't been there in that baseline cut. Kelly this time takes it, spins his way in on Caden Rickard, and finds his way to his 4th. The Trojans, out of the last time out, they've definitely tried to get Deshaun Kelly going. They feel like they have a matchup they win against Caden Rickard on their way up the floor, and it's been late, but they've been able to get there now. A kick to the right side. Munson for 3, comes up short. Hunter Sand, an offensive rebound. Rickard squares up from the top for 3 and knocks it down. Caden Rickard with 9. The Vikings get an extra look on a Hunter Sand offensive board. The lead is 21 for the Vikings at 46-25. 2.5 to play in the opening half of play. A drive, Muller, count it 1. Sam Muller getting a step to his left hand, goes in with the right hand scoop on the left side and draws the harm against Joe Owens, the first against Owens. 6 field goals in the opening half for Muller. He now has 14 of Dakota State's 27 first half points, has a chance at a 15th from the foul line, and he comes up well short. In fact, that did not draw iron, and the ball's going back to Valley City State. Lead is 19 for the Vikings at 46-27. A win for the Vikings would maintain a share of third place, and they have tiebreakers with Bellevue, one of the teams they're tied with. They play Dickinson State, the other team they're tied with. On Thursday night, Bedgood, left corner, a long 2-point shot is good. Bedgood just a toe step on the line, and that one rolled around. He's had a cold weekend. It's good to see Cleveland Bedgood find a shot to go through. The Vikings back up 21 at 48-27. 2:05 to play opening half. Muller no looking to Morales in the right corner for Dakota State. Looking right side, Slothog back into Muller in the lane. Steps through a double team, squares up, misses over the front of the rim. Munson with a rebound, quick outlet to Hunter Sand. Vikings back at the floor in transition. Sand driving, back to Munson in the right corner. Reversal to Rickard, and now the Vikings will come out of transition instead of a play. Rickard takes it, drives in, kicks out, Bedgood. Left corner, Sand for three. It rolls in and out. Another one of those seniors out of Pekin, North Dakota, Nelson County Owl for the baseball thing. And a Trojan, I believe, Noah Knight underneath as they go down low, do Dakota State. Ethan Slodog with 4. He was a Dakota Prairie Knight, was Hunter Sand. Came here and has had a great career for Valley City State. He's absorbed a role-playing role this year after being a starter a year ago, and he's a crowd favorite here for the Vikings. He's got the ball again. 48-29, the Vikings by 19. 1:10 to play until halftime. Bedgood, a drive in, a kick out to Caden Rickard. He'll reverse to Munson in the left corner this time. Munson trying to put a foot down against Slodog. Kicked it into the lane, and it's broken up. Loose basketball taken by Deshaun Kelly. A rare turnover for the Vikings here in the opening half. Kelly loses the ball, gets it back, spins down low. Slodog pulling up. That was missed over Joe Owens, and we've got a whistle, and it looks like an embellishment call is going to be called against Caden Rickard. They're going to call a technical foul against Caden Rickard for embellishment. They're going to call him for a flop trying to sell a charge. Ryan Montgomery's not exactly happy with the call. The head coach for the Vikings a little frustrated. And so they'll come over to the table and assess the technical foul on Caden Rickard. And Deshaun Kelly will shoot the foul shots for Dakota State and hit on the front end. Kelly, a 75% foul shooter. He'll shoot 1 for Dakota State. So Kelly with 5 as he hits it. The lead for the Vikings cut to 18 at 48-30. Rickard has tried to sell a couple of charges. The whistle just came late. He didn't really try to sell anything after the initial effort. That might have been more of an inventory call than anything, but we have seen Rickard trying to induce a couple of charges here. Maybe not surprising that he took the foul in that situation. Joe Owens is tripped as he goes in. Now we've got a whistle and a kicked basketball against the Vikings. So Dakota State will keep it. They'll just pause the game momentarily as the shot clock had not really restarted after the change of possession. Hunter Lyman will come on replacing Joe Owens. He had a nice rotation. Gets a hand from the faithful here as Owens has 6. And now Hunter Lyman comes onto the floor for the Vikings. Both of those players have been very productive in that position inside for the Vikings. Owens with 6 points, and Hunter Lyman's had a nice day rebounding the basketball. 5 boards here in the opening half for Lyman. Chris Morales, top of the key for Dakota State. Shot clock at 13 seconds. A drive to the baseline for Kelly, looking down low to Slothog, and he's fouled. And the tempo of the game is ground down a little bit. That favors Dakota State in that situation. Hunter Sand will be called for his first. When the game was running with a throttle wide open, it was all Vikings, and that's where they pulled out to the big lead. Dakota State's been able to slow things down, execute a little bit, and keep the Vikings from that high-octane offensive production. First foul shot for Slothog is good. 5 points in the opening half for the little-used Ethan Slothog. Again, a kid out of Hayfield, Minnesota, down by the Rochester area, and has stepped in and has done a very nice job. Ronnie Ladding on the bench for a lot of this opening half for Dakota State. Second one goes for Slothog. He's got 6. The Viking lead cut to 16. It's been as big as 21. Right now a 16-point lead in the final 10 seconds. Sand on top to Devontae Munson. He'll work right side, goes to the basket. Scoop layup for Devontae Munson. That gives him 16 in the opening half. From half court, it's good if it goes, and it banks high off the glass for Morales and comes up strong. And the Vikings will take an 18-point lead into the intermission on the strength of a 50-point first half of basketball. At the end of the opening half, your score on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard is the Vikings 50 and Dakota State 32. We'll come back with our halftime report brought to you by Rambo in a couple of moments. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. Brothers 3 has the area's widest variety of classic and new ice fishing tackle at the lowest prices to give you the edge this year. Before heading out on the ice, stop in and get your live bait and tackle and fill your tank with the highest quality gas and diesel. Brothers 3 is your locally owned and operated convenience store. As always, Brothers 3 has the lowest prices in town on everything, from snacks and drinks to winter gear and propane and automotive supplies. Remember, it pays to shop at Brothers 3.
You don't want to fumble it away with these 2 events. Valley Meat Supply has you covered for the big game on February 12th and Valentine's Day on February 14th. Take care of your football crowd with meat and cheese trays and appetizers. And for the sweetheart on Valentine's Day, how about those thick, juicy steaks, along with seafood like lobster, crab legs, shrimp, and scallops? For the big game, Valentine's Day, or anytime, remember Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Lockout Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue at 701-845-6938 or James M. Lockout at CPA 701-845-1660. Services offered through Investment Advisors, a division of Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, and securities offered through Pro Equities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA and SIPC.
Ivy Real Estate Group, your locally owned real estate brokerage, is cheering for the home team. Listen to KOVC for the Ivy Real Estate Group Player of the Game following every Valley City Highliner and VCSU Vikings game.
Don't leave your wiring to chance. Plug into your number one electrical source, Highline Electric. They're the experts in residential, commercial, and industrial electrical work. No cutting corners at Highline Electric. Call 845-0731. They'll give you a free estimate before any work is done. Family owned since 1986 with Chad and Tracy Zahn. And I promise, the price won't shock you. Highline Electric in Valley City. Call 845-0731. Building a reputation of integrity and quality.
Well, here at halftime of our men's matchup today, the Viking women are acknowledging their senior group, and they're doing the same thing that the Viking men did by bringing out the parents and bringing out the families. And this is just a great display of some real family atmosphere to see here at Valley City State. Bailey Heap, along with Meredith Dumas, who's currently being awarded her memorial items, if you will. They've got a nice little blow-up poster of them in action, and they're bringing the parents onto the floor. We'll also see Emma Nielsen, Taryn Dieterle, and Allie Critchley go out and take their acknowledgement as well. And Taryn Dieterle right now, Valley City family. They've got a kid still at Valley City High School, and he's going to have a nice future. Jack Dieterle, good 6'6" post player for the Highliners that I believe is just a freshman. So there could be another Dieterle in the pipeline for this Viking basketball program, just on the men's side this time. And it's good to see them being acknowledged here today as well. And we welcome you back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse and Viking basketball here on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC. Ryan Cunningham with you here today from the Fieldhouse. And the Viking men got it done in the first half. They got to get it done in the second half as well. No lead is safe in this league. We know that after the Vikings led by 28 against Mayville State and watched that roll down to 1 in the final 40 seconds of the game. So the Vikings right now leading by 18 with more work to do, but they do a nice job of executing their game plan in the opening half, and they lead by a 50-32 margin. Our halftime report is presented tonight by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. Look for Rambo for all of your promotional products, including clothing that will make you look like you're ready for business. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good. The Vikings with a 50-32 lead. The Vikings will score 11 points off turnovers, 30 in the paint in the opening half. They also get 11 second chance points, and that is a huge part of what has gone on in this opening half of play. The Vikings trying to seal up their rebounding at the end of the opening half. They out-rebound Dakota State in the opening half 23-19. Again, a team that typically does not win the rebounding battle. The Vikings typically will be out-rebounded by 3.5 per game, but on the offensive glass, a 6'5" edge, the overall 23-14, and the Vikings use it to come up with 11 second chance points in that opening half. They also induce 8 Dakota State turnovers, and 6 of those came in the first 8.5 minutes. And what you might be seeing right now, Gary Garner, the head coach for Dakota State, took a couple of timeouts in rapid succession and had to have his players just start taking better care of the basketball. And when they did, they were able to slow things down. They didn't quite play with the throttle wide open, which allowed them to take better care of the ball. But the difference is it limits their offense as well. The other part of this, Ronnie Ladding, their big post player inside, he played just 10.5 minutes of the opening half. They may have been looking to sort of rotate him back in. They had a couple of fouls against him. They didn't, actually only one. They didn't rotate him back out there even with just that first foul. So Gary Garner saw something about Ronnie Ladding that wasn't working well and decided to withhold him for a good chunk of the opening half of play, and those things are very impactful for Dakota State in a 50-32 deficit. to the Vikings. Individual numbers, Dakota State is led by Sam Muller, who had a field day in the first half. He had 14 of their 32 points. He shot 6 of 9 from the field and ended up knocking down a pair of foul shots as well for 14 points, 4 rebounds to go with that as well. But the scoring just completely falls off at that point. Ethan Slotdog was 6 points, 5 points, 4 boards for Deshaun Kelly, 4 points for Ronnie Ladding, couple of rebounds. Chris Morales, 3 points and 2 boards as well. For the Vikings, 16 points, 5 rebounds for Devontae Munson. Caden Rickard with 9 points and a couple of rebounds as well. Edmund Oyette had a great cycle in the first half. 7 points and 5 rebounds for Edmund Oyette. He rebounded the ball extremely well against Presentation a couple of weekends ago and again last night against Bellevue. He's one of the players that's leading to this resurgence in rebounding right now for the Vikings. Joe Owens, 6 points off the bench. Hunter Lyman, 5 points, 5 boards, including 3 of those 6 offensive rebounds. He continues to get it done. Duth Gotch with 6 points in the opening half as well. 2 each, Hunter Sand and Cleveland Bedgood, and singles for Tate Hebrink. And not single for Tate Hebrink, a single out there for Tate Hebrink. Yeah, Tate Hebrink did end up with a single. Looked at the wrong category here. He ends up with a single for Valley City State. And again, at the end of the opening half, your score at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse is the Vikings 50 and the Trojans 32. We'll get some halftime scores from some other games in progress. And beyond that, another look in that women's game out at Dickinson, which looks like it will lead to a Vikings showdown with the Blue Hawks for the final home court game in the North Star Athletic Association opening round. We'll have that for you coming up next. This is Viking basketball in the halftime report, brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. This is Viking basketball on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Rambo, a proud sponsor and fan of Viking Athletics, has been serving North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota with quality logoed apparel and promotional products since 1979. With online store options built to meet the needs of your company, organization, or team, Rambo will ensure that the process of ordering is easy and accurate and that your items are received on time. When you're ready to put your logo to work, give Matt a call at 701-680-9585. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
This is Amy Heim, nurse practitioner with Sanford Health. Well child checks are important visits for children of every age. Yearly well child checks are recommended for children 3 and older and more frequently for those younger than 3. It is at these visits that growth, development, and preventative care are addressed in an effort to keep children as healthy as possible. Recommended immunizations are also discussed and provided at these visits. Call 742-3267 to schedule at your local Sanford Health Clinic in Ellendale, Foreman, Gwinner, Lemoore, Lisbon, or Oaks.
February is the month of love and romance. Get creative with a gift for your loved one from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, your community Health Mart pharmacy. Browse and discover all kinds of gifts for him and her. The flu and cold season is here. For all your healthcare needs and prescriptions, see your trusted healthcare resource, Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy, downtown Valley City. Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
This is Dr. Ryan Lorenz, physical therapist at Mobility Plus Rehabilitation, with offices in Enderlin, Lisbon, Gwinner, and Valley City. Our mission is to provide exceptional physical and occupational therapy by highly skilled therapists to minimize pain and maximize mobility, which quickly allows you to return to the quality of life you desire. We will evaluate and educate you on your condition, review treatment options, and create an effective treatment plan to solve your impairments based on your unique situation and needs. I invite you to call our offices at Mobility Plus today.
Welcome back to Viking basketball here on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. Ryan Cunningham with you here today from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Halftime reached in our men's matchup. It's 50-32 in favor of Valley City State. The Vikings looking for a strong second half to wrap up their home regular season schedule and try to stay in that tie for third place in the North Star Athletic Association. A chance to move up the seedings here at the end. The Vikings have won 5 of 7 conference games leading to this point, and they continue to sort of move their way forward with the progression of their team. That Defensive presence has been a big part of it. We have not yet received the final in women's basketball out in Dickinson. Dickinson State hosting Bellevue today, but the last report was Dickinson 76 and Bellevue 61. And if that score holds, then the Viking women are going to finish the day tied, or rather with a one-game lead over Dickinson State. The Vikings would be 7-6 in women's play. Dickinson State would move to 6-7. As luck would have it, they play each other as travel partners to end the regular season. And that game would be for the final home court spot in the North Star tournament. If the Vikings win it, they finish 2 up at the end of the season. If the Blue Hawks were to win it, they would be tied with the Vikings. And Dickinson State would have tiebreaker advantage, as their win today over Bellevue would be the best win against the conference of the two teams. And that's how they go about their tiebreaker scenario in the North Star. If you are tied and there is no head-to-head tiebreaker, the next step is you start at the top of the ladder and start looking down. Both teams were swept by Dakota State. Both teams were swept by Mayville State. The third-place team is Bellevue. The Vikings were swept by Bellevue. Dickinson State would have a win over the Bruins, and that would be the tiebreaker, pushing Dickinson State to the 4 seed. And then, and here's the next part of it, the Vikings would go right back to Dickinson State the following Tuesday in the opening round of the North Star. And some of that is alive on the men's side of things as well. You take a look at the men's standings tonight. The Vikings are in a 3-way tie with Dickinson State. And right now the Vikings would be big Bellevue fans. If the Vikings win here and they get themselves to 8-5, and Bellevue wins, they're both 8-5, a game up on Dickinson. The Vikings will still have to win at Dickinson State to get third, but they would have the tiebreaker over Bellevue, as the Vikings have a win over first place Mayville State so far this season. Hold the phone on that as well, though, as we take a look at some scores in progress on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Waldorf, 3-9 in the league, is up in Mayville today against Mayville State, leading 10-2, or who's a 10-2 team, I should say. It's Mayville State 10-2 in the conference, first place. Waldorf 3-9, seventh place. Waldorf leads 33-31, and that's a night after they were beaten by Presentation College. That gave PC their first conference win of the year, and yet Waldorf has held their own for 20 minutes against Mayville State in that matchup. At halftime down in Wisconsin today, no, correction, this is at Presentation College. Presentation trails Viterbo 39-37. Now, that's a team that the Vikings went and played at Viterbo last weekend and lost by 32 to wrap up the weekend. And Presentation, who has one conference win, is within 2 points of Viterbo right now. Those are the scores that are in progress around the league at this point. The final score has come in women's play. Dickinson State defeated Bellevue by a score of 78-70. So the Blue Hawks get the win over Bellevue in conference play and women's play. That will push Dickinson State to 6-7. The Vikings fall to 7-6 today with their loss to Dakota State. And so it all comes down to Thursday out in Dickinson for the final home game of the North Star Athletic Association Conference Tournament. Top 4 teams host, and if you advance, we go to Watertown for a Saturday Elite 8, if you will, with 4 teams alive on each side. And the conference championship games would be on Sunday. That is a look at your halftime report. It's brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. 16 first half points for Devontae Munson. The Vikings with 9 from Caden Rickards, 7 from Edmund Oyette, 6 from Joe Owens, and 5 apiece from Duth Gotch and Hunter Lyman. Plenty of scoring in that first half, and a 50-point first half, and it came from a lot of places. Sam Muller's 14 leading the way for Dakota State. The Vikings leading by 18 as we start the second half of play. By the way, earlier they did get the pieing done. If you weren't with us during women's play, Valley City State Athletic Director and head football coach Dennis McCulloch and Kerry Strickland, longtime support staff here, raised money for a homeless students project where they have volunteered to be pied in the face. They couldn't get it done at halftime of the women's game, but they did get it done at the end of the women's game. There's great video out there. All I can say is YouTube. Devontae Munson driving in for the Vikings, kicking to Duth Gotch at 3 for the right side. Gets the scoring started for the Vikings. Duth Gotch has got 8. The Vikings back up 21. It's 53-32. Valley City State, 30 seconds in to this second half of basketball as the Vikings start off with a good offensive possession to try to get momentum rebuilt. On the top of the key, Chris Morales for Dakota State, looking to Deshaun Kelly, left wing. Back to Morales. He'll dribble into a three-point shot. Left it short. Rebound battle inside. Sam Muller out-rebounds Lyman and goes to the basket and scores. Hunter Lyman trying to get inside, but that time Sam Muller comes up with an O-board. He's got 16. That's a little lower in the post than we've seen Muller slide so far. That might be an adjustment for Dakota State in the second half. Viking lead 19, 53-34, and a stepping dribble right side for Caden Rickard. He'll retreat to the right corner. Morales comes out to get him. Swing by Devontae Munson to the corner for Duth Gotch. Tate Hebrink, no looking to Duth Gotch. He'll work baseline, drives in, left-handed hook shot got rejected. Loose ball to Muller in the paint, and Dakota State comes away with the basketball. Deshaun Kelly driving in. Offensive foul coming up. Tate Hebrink stepped in front of Deshaun Kelly, fell backward and draws the foul. And, you know, we see a little grin on the face of Tate Hebrink getting up. He's grinning all the way back into the backcourt. I think he knows that he just did what Caden Rickard was called for embellishment for and assessed a technical foul for in the opening half, but he got away with it. Lead is 19 for the Vikings at 53-34. Hebrink crossover on Strand. Pulls up from 15. It nibbles and won't fall. Rebound out of bounds off of the Vikings. They'll say Hunter Lyman touched it last. Couple of Trojans were there. Ryan Montgomery, the Viking head coach, was very sure that ball was coming back to his team. Instead, Dakota State's back in the front court with possession. Gavin Strand for the Trojans inside to Hoverson. That's knocked loose. Hebrink from the backside knocked it away. Loose ball to Caden Rickard. Up the floor, Devontae Munson. Transition layup. Miss, got his own miss. Puts it back, and Devontae has got 18 today for the Vikings. Lead back to 21 for Valley City State at 55-34. The transition game continues to work, and Morales just threw that one away. You could tell that Morales and Strand may have been, the old term is, psyched out by the Viking trap. They had no idea what to do. Gavin Strand didn't have a defender around him within about 10 feet. But Morales made some kind of read against the Viking trap and just threw the ball laterally to the sideline. Strand was up the floor, and it just sails to the scorer's table untouched. Devontae Munson driving in, high bank shot missed. Lyman went for the rebound, couldn't find it. Strand gets free of Duth Gotch with a behind-the-back dribble. Then he really threw the ball out of bounds. It's saved in. Muller's turnaround comes up short. Gotch will send it out after the rebound to Devontae Munson for the Vikings. He'll turn it back to the top of the key. Rickard trailing, three-point shot good. Caden Rickard's hitting again. 12 points for Caden Rickard as he joins the double-figure club. The Viking bench likes it as they stand up and salute. 58-34, the Vikings by 24. 2.5 minutes into the second half on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Jab step by Muller on the top of the key. Hard take against Lyman and a foul in the body against Hunter Lyman on the way in for Muller. Muller has been the one man in the lineup that the Vikings haven't been able to account for, but very big signals being sent right now by Dakota State head coach Gary Garner. After their big 270-pound post player Ronnie Ladding played only 10 minutes in the first half, he does not start the second half. Sam Muller scores on a fall-away in the lane off of the inbounds pass. He's got 18, and the Viking lead cut to 22 at 58-36, but something is not well in Trojan land if you don't see that many minutes from Ronnie Ladding. They need him on the floor, and right now he's not there. Caden Rickard for three for the Vikings, no good. Rebound slapped to the perimeter. Devontae Munson picks up Duth Gotch's deflection. Ball inside of the floor, Rickard into the lane. A stop and no look to Gotch. Top of the key three, he hits it again. Another one of those seniors today. Duth Gotch now with 11. The Vikings lead by 25. Every time Dakota State scores two, the Vikings score three. Lyman with his third foul. And this may be what Gary Garner was waiting for. Now Lyman has to come out of the game with foul trouble. That'll force Joe Owens back in, and we'll see if they rotate to Ronnie Ladding off the bench with Owens back into the matchup. They're not going to yet. I thought we might have seen Ladding pop up in that situation. Owens pokes the ball away. 2-on-1 with Gotch off the turnover, and Owens trying to get up. He's fouled as he went hard to the basket. You saw an opportunity for Chris Morales to try to just prevent him from getting to the basket for an alley-oop. And we'll see a foul that will net no foul shots but possession for the Vikings. And Dakota State will send in Wyatt Olson, 6'1" sophomore from White River, South Dakota, down in the southwestern part of the state to replace Chris Morales. 61-36, the Vikings by 25 with the basketball after the foul. Devontae Munson, a step back three-point shot from the top of the key. It's no good. Owens an offensive rebound against three Trojans. Out to Gotch. He's got all day. Knock it down again. Duth Gotch taking a look. 14 for Duth Gotch. The lead is 28. as the Vikings start to really flex their muscle. On top, it's Muller, jab stepping right, got a lean from Owens, pulls up and scores again. That's 20 on the day for Sam Muller. The only man the Vikings can't seem to defend, and Sam Muller right now is feeling it. Lead cut to 26. Rickard baseline move, got underneath. Munson cutting in, scoring off the glass. 20 points for Devontae Munson after the drive by Rickard drew him into the lane. Ball knocked loose, and the Vikings with the turnover. An outlet for Gotch. He's got to run it down. Got to the basket and scores. Devontae Munson leaves it up the floor. Duth Gotch will score in transition. The lead is 30. A drive for Deshaun Kelly. He'll score off the glass over Joe Owens. Deshaun Kelly now with 7. Vikings back the other way with their lead checked to 28 at 68-40. 15-20 to play in the second half of basketball. Owens standing on top, looking to give the ball away to Gotch. Back to Rickard, flexing to the left wing. Rickard takes a look to Devontae Munson in the corner. He puts his back to the basket on Deshaun Kelly. Steps in, had the ball knocked loose. Correction, not Kelly, but rather Josh Holloway. And that was the numbers change. We apologize. We were told about that one before the game. Josh Holloway has stepped in, not Wyatt Olson, wearing that number 2 jersey. Holloway, a 6'1 sophomore from Surprise, Arizona. And he surprised us, as Wyatt Olson's listed as number 2. Holloway at 25, or rather 23, but we were told about it before the game. Just failed to put the eye test on that one as he came in. First foul shot for Munson doesn't fall. Edmund Oyette comes in the perimeter to replace Tate Hebrink. Another new Trojan. We'll see Taylor Edwards, 6'6 sophomore from Hill City, South Dakota. Tourist location down in the Black Hills, right outside of Rapid City. Beautiful place. Second foul shot for Devontae is short, and the rebound comes down inside to Sam Muller, who has done everything that the Trojans have needed done today and more. A 3 from the right side going up and over the backboard from Josh Holloway off of a rebound. And the ball will go back to Valley City State. Cleveland Bedgood checks in for Devontae Munson, who gets a little hand from the faithful here as he checks in, or checks out rather. 5 minutes of the second half gone by. The Vikings leading by 28 at 68-40. Gotch to Caden Rickard. Left side of the floor, Bedgood for 3. That trickles off and won't fall, and it's tapped back in by a Trojan. Bedgood will get credit for a 2-point shot. That'll make it 70-40. It was a rebound for Deshaun Kelly. It came off the palm of his hand, and he tapped it through the basket. And so the Vikings will technically get a 2 from Cleveland Bedgood. Muller pops from 15 and scores his 22nd of the day. You'd think Muller's getting scouted the way he's playing today for Dakota State. 22 points. The lead cut back to 28 at 70-42. Bedgood handing off to Joe Owens on the left side for the Vikings. Cross to his right hand, steps in the lane, spins on Muller, got to the glass, and Muller deflected the shot. Loose ball deflected to the perimeter for Bedgood, and a 3 by Caden Rickard is good. Rickard again, this time with 15. The lead swings to 31 for the Vikings at 73-42. Rickard will be called for a foul. Coming out to press against Josh Holloway coming up the near sideline. Another new Dakota State Trojan will come into the game. That is Brett Limke, 6-foot freshman from West Fargo, North Dakota. Probably a former teammate of Hunter Lyman. Both come out of West Fargo. Right now, Lyman on the bench for the Vikings. We'll see if there's a reunion of the two, if Lyman gets his way back in. 6 minutes gone by in the second half, and the Vikings with a big lead of 73-42. Muller to the glass, left it short, challenged by Owens. The rebound is scrambled for inside. Turned back to the perimeter by Taylor Edwards for the Trojans. Holloway pops a jump shot and misses. This time, Bedgood over the top for the rebound. He'll general the floor into the front court for the Vikings. Bedgood kicking out, and Hebrink denied Edmund Oyette, teammate, the basketball. Edmund Oyette was waiting on the perimeter. Hebrink put a hand up to take it and deflected it away from Oyette. The best defender of Edmund Oyette is teammate Tate Hebrink. We'll see a change for the Trojans. Ethan Slothog comes back into the game. Muller will sit. Hoverson will sit. Gavin Strand also returns for Dakota State. And we'll see the Trojans into the front court. Limke leading the charge. Top of the key to Slothog. He looks underneath from 17 feet. Jumper well short. Owens runs down a loose ball rebound and then ran into Cleveland Bedgood, who ran into an official. And the Vikings will give the ball back to Dakota State again. That's 2 consecutive possessions where the Vikings have turned themselves over. You don't see that very often. Holloway will inbound the ball for Dakota State. Right corner, Limke 3, good. Brett Limke stepping back and hitting a 3. And the Vikings have their lead cut to 28 at 73-45. Approaching the 13-minute mark of the second half. Oyette to Hunter Sand on the top of the key. Handing off for Owens. He's got that big step working on Holloway. Goes to the glass and scores physically. Joe Owens with 8. Just don't see a player at this level very often that can take those big steps under control down the side of the paint and go strong to the basket. He absorbs contact so well. He finishes again. The Vikings back up by 30. A jump stop in the lane for Slothog. Limke turning the ball to Holloway left corner. He'll go baseline, and a foul coming up against Valley City State. I believe it'll go against Tate Hebrink that came out to pressure the basketball on the line. Hebrink will pick up his first. Gavin Strand will get a breather for Dakota State, and we will see Jace Kelly, a 6'1 sophomore from Custer, South Dakota. That's also down there at the southwest part of the state. Gary Garner went down to the corner in the Black Hills and found himself a recruiting class at one point. Limke rotating back towards the top of the key for the Trojans. He'll bounce one to Slothog on the foul line. Back to Limke. Head fake, looking left. Scissors his way back in. Kicks it out right side. Long two for Holloway, no good. And the rebound deflected loose. Matt Schlottman comes into the game for the Vikings. One of those seniors getting an opportunity to play, and he'll be on the scoreboard with a rebound. We'll see a foul as Tate Hebrink tried to go the length of the floor the other way. Schlottman checking in, a 6'9", technically junior, out of Hastings, Minnesota, but Schlottman was recognized. He's a junior by eligibility, but he's a senior by class level, and he's going to graduate from the Viking program this year. One of 8 Vikings that will graduate this season. Bedgood driving left-hand scoop shot. That's the maturity that Cleveland Bedgood has gained in a short time as a Viking. He became eligible at the semester break. He was all about threes and perimeter. At that time, switches hands driving in and scoring with the left hand. Really good progression in Bedgood's game while he's been here. The lead is 32 for the Vikings at 77-45. Near side of the floor, Josh Holloway stepping away from the Viking zone, working down to Limke on the right side for the Trojans. A step back, looking towards the corner. Slothog from the foul line, squaring up on Schlottman. A follow-away jump shot good for Ethan Slothog. He's got 8. The Trojans challenge the lead back to 30. Clock down to 11:40 to go. The way the Vikings, of course, have built this lead has been impressive, but everybody seems to remember that recent spat with Mayville State, where it was a 28-point lead that fell to 1 in the final minutes of the game, final seconds of the game. And so the Vikings won't be happy till this one's over despite the big lead. Oyette driving in, offensive foul coming up against Oyette. Really nice play rotating up top for Dakota State in the form of Taylor Edwards that comes up to take the charge. And Edmund Oyette will be called for his second. Oyette will sit, and the Vikings will send Will Tingham into the game. 6'6" junior as well from Chisago Lakes, Minnesota. A nice move here by Ryan Montgomery. Some of these seniors that have played strictly bench and rotation players throughout the season are now having an opportunity to come in. We haven't seen minutes from them for a while, since maybe the first part of the season. A 3 out of the right corner for Dakota State is knocked down by Jace Kelly. That's his first scoring, and the Trojans cut the lead to 27 at 77-50. Hebrink rotating in, down to the baseline. Tingham, head fake. How about that? Will Tingham. Listen to the crowd come to life for Will Tingham. Getting a chance to get some minutes here on senior day. He scores the layup, the lead to 29 for Valley City State. Slothog off to the top for Kelly. A look back to Slothog on the foul line. Jump stopping, pulling up against Tingham, missing. Edwards got stripped of the rebound. Tate Hebrink will clear it for the Vikings. Valley City State back into the front court. Here's Sand, transition 3, go in. It does not. Came up off the front of the rim. Everybody wants to see Hunter hit one more. He had a big game a couple of weekends ago when both Joe Owens and Duth Gotch got in foul trouble, and he came out and had a huge first half where he scored 12 in the first half and finished with 16 for the game. Josh Holloway hits a 3 for Dakota State, and the Viking lead is 26. And the Vikings are going to send Keaton Quilvang into the game next. Valley City State's going to give their players that don't play an opportunity to get into the game here on senior day and enjoy some time with their teammates. Schlottman on the screen and roll. He's down the left block, dribbling, pulls up on a follow-away, missed it. Hunter Sand will pick it up and reverse it in. Sand with his first 2, finishing a reverse layup, and that'll take us to the halfway point of the second half. The Vikings by 28 at 81-53. Holloway, a pull-up for 3 left wing, hits it again. Josh Holloway with 6. If Dakota State would have had this kind of rhythm in the opening half, they might have been able to hang in the game. The lead 25 for the Vikings now at 81-56. Tingham and Hebrink working screen and roll. It's Tingham looking to Sand, cutting to the basket and scoring. Hunter Sand with 4. The Vikings lead by 27. 9:25 to play in the second half. Limke to the foul line for Slothog. Off to the right side. A 3 by Jace Kelly is off the heel. Tingham had a body on him from behind. That's going to have to be whistled, and it will be. They're going to call Ethan Slothog on the foul. His second. One thing the Viking fans can say that are here, This team has been incredibly entertaining throughout the course of the season. It's been a lot of fun to be here and watch this team play, and we'll see our media stoppage with 9:16 to go as the Vikings lead by 27. 83-56 Vikings on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have a timeout for Mobility Plus Rehabilitation. This is Viking basketball, the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
If you're the hard-working kind, you probably need some daily workwear. Smith Lumber Home Center understands. Smith Lumber Home Center is proud to be a Wrangler dealer. Since 1947, Wrangler has been a genuine source for comfortable jeans and apparel. They also have Justin boots with handcrafted quality using the finest leathers. That's not all. They carry Walls workwear, Reed boots, and wool socks. Told you they got you covered when it comes to daily workwear. Smith Lumber Home Center, your store for everyone on East Main, Valley City.
Ivy Real Estate Group, your locally owned real estate brokerage, is cheering for the home team. Listen to KOVC for the Ivy Real Estate Group Player of the Game following every Valley City Highliner and VCSU Vikings game.
Welcome back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Viking basketball this afternoon on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. Ryan Cunningham with you with 9:16 to play of the second half. And the Vikings all over the Trojans. 83-56. The Vikings trying to hang in a third-place tie with Bellevue and with Dickinson State, who will not start their game with Bellevue, whom the Vikings beat last night until just a bit later. They're about 10 minutes away from tip-off out in Dickinson. But the Vikings here, if they can win out, they're going to grab the number 3 seed in the North Star Athletic Conference tournament, and they would very likely play this very team in the opening round of the tournament, and they would do it at home if they can win out. Keaton Quilvang checks in for the Vikings. Will Tingham on the right side has the ball knocked loose, but a foul coming up. They're going to get Ethan Slaughter knocking the ball away on Tingham. Again, the Vikings with a big lead on senior day, playing some of their seniors that have been just strictly practice players and a seat on the bench throughout the course of the year, but they're getting a chance here. Keaton Quilvang, 6'2 junior out of Candu, North Dakota, former North Star Bearcat. His mom's an Ellsberger alumni here at Valley City State and an athletic alumni of very high reputation as well. And the Vikings will send it to Quilvang for 3. It comes up short. A rebound knocked loose by Hunter Sand. It'll go out of bounds and back to the Trojans. Numbers at the midway point of the half. Sam Muller with 22 points and 6 rebounds for Dakota State leading the way, but no one else with more than 7. The Vikings with 3 in double figures, 20 points, 7 boards, Devontae Munchin, and 18 points for Duth Gotch. A 3, actually a long foul line jump shot for Slaughter that will not go down. Rebound comes back to the Vikings. Also Caden Rickard, 15 points for Valley City State. And the Vikings, a little miscommunication on the far side between Schlotman and Sand. Will turn it over. Ball will go back to Dakota State with 8.5 minutes to play. Holloway, who's had a very nice second half for Dakota State, no-looks one into Slaughter. A kick out left side, a 3 by Kelly is off the heel, and Sand reaches high and snares another rebound for Valley City State. The Vikings will move back into the front court. A drive to the foul line by Hebrink, jump stop, kick out. Schlotman wants a 3. Big man comes up short. Jace Kelly the rebound on the perimeter for Dakota State. To Holloway into the front court, a step back off a behind-the-back dribble. There's another 3. Where was this guy in the first half for Dakota State? Josh Holloway has 9. And the Viking lead cut to 24 with just under 8 minutes to play now in the second half. Hebrink moving left, handing off for Hunter Sand. Sand flexes his way near side. Keaton Quilvang moves his way in the lane, kicks out. Schlotman looking baseline with 1 dribble. Steps away from Taylor Edwards, kicks to Hunter Sand. A head fake for Sand, bounce pass to the baseline for Tingham. Tingham backs his way in. The turn, the fall away, comes up short. Sand deflects the rebound to the perimeter, but it's Limke that picks it up. And the West Fargo native will lead Dakota State back into the front court. Kelly back to Limke on the right side, into the lane, head fake. Edwards got to the glass and is fouled by Will Tingham. And with 7:25 to go, the thing tightens up just a hair. It's been a 31-point lead that's cut now to 24, and you'll see when Ryan Montgomery, perhaps to rotate in a starter here or there to try to even things up a little bit, as Taylor Edwards will go to the line for the Trojans, shooting 2 shots, and the first for Edwards is good. 83-60 lead for the Trojans, cut back to, or rather for the Vikings, cut back to 23 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard with 7:25 to play. The second foul shot won't fall, and Hunter Sand will take it down for Valley City State. The lead 23 at 83-60. Hebrink sneaks his way into the front court. Tingham sets a screen, rolls in. Hebrink takes a three-point shot from the top of the key and misses. Edwards comes down on the baseline with a rebound for Dakota State. Trojans with a three can cut this to 20 with 7 minutes to play. Again, it's still uphill, but it becomes doable from the top of the key. Limke rotating to the right corner, and he threw it away. Hebrink stepped in front of a pass intended for Kelly. Bounce pass to the near side. Quilvang to the basket, and he'll score. Caden Quilvang getting an opportunity to score, and again the crowd comes to life as they see one of their seniors knock one in. Slothog from the foul line, couple of ball fakes. Holloway stepping left wing, a stop on a head fake down to Kelly on the baseline. Back down low, Slothog is fouled and will go to the foul line with 6:38 to go. So Quilvang gets on the scoreboard. Schlottman still looking for points. But you see that bucket for Quilvang. Tingham is on the scoreboard. You know that Schlottman's the guy now that the Vikings like the basketball to, so he can finish up with a bucket. Final regular season home game of his career. If the Vikings do get a playoff game at home, there would be one more opportunity as Slothog knocks down his ninth. But these are players that in a playoff situation may not get a lot of time, so they're really soaking in the moment here in front of the Viking crowd. Lead cut to 24 at 85-61 on Slothog's first effort, and he'll knock down the second as well to give himself 10. 85-62, 6.5 to play here in the fourth quarter, or I should say second half. Reverting back to my women's basketball a couple of hours ago. Top of the key, Hebrink working right, backdoor cut, Tingham inside will score again. Will Tingham with 4, slicing behind the back end of the defense and taking the bounce pass. And it's 87-62, the lead back to 25 for the Vikings. Slothog stepping left, looking out top of the key. Jace Kelly for 3 is off the heel. And the rebound near the baseline, saved and bounced to Taylor Edwards for the Trojans. He and Hunter Sand locked up. We're going to see a whistle, and looks like they're going to call a foul here against Hunter Sand. Yep. Sand will be called for his second, trying to force a held ball. This will lead to the 1-for-1 penalty for Dakota State. They're going to mop up the ball on the floor for a moment. Speaking of the quarters, one thing that we learned today is that with the change of classifications in high school basketball in North Dakota, we were wondering, are we playing halves or quarters? Right now, the largest class in North Dakota plays halves, the smallest class quarters. What would the shot clock look like and that type of thing? And what we found out is that the National Federation of High Schools is currently getting close to adopting the women's college basketball rule for high school play across the country. And that would mean quarters and a reset of the fouls at the end of each quarter, leading to the penalty at 5 in the quarter, and then bring it back to 0 at the end of the quarter, exactly what we do for college women's basketball. Apparently that's fallen just a few votes short the last couple of years when the NFHS meets. And so we may see everything but college men's basketball playing in the quarter format. Basketball in North Dakota has been at the halves format at the big school level. Schlottman for 3 comes up short after a pair of foul shots went down for Taylor Edwards. The Vikings lead 87-64. Just under 6 to play now in the second half. Limke looking into the lane. Slothog will kick it back to Kelly. Back to Limke on the top of the key. Slicing through defenders but stopping on the left block. He looks down low and Taylor Edwards nearly had the basketball. It's swiped out of bounds by Tate Hebrink looking to take one away. Again, North Dakota has gone against the NFHS rules by implementing a shot clock, by implementing halves. So North Dakota has not had a vote in that General Assembly. Slothog ends up missing a shot. Will Tingham will tip it in, and Slothog is going to get his 12th point as the Vikings tip one in for Dakota State, just as Dakota State tipped one in for Cleveland Bedgood earlier in the half, and the lead is cut to 21 at 87-66. The Vikings. Schlottman baseline move, cutting back to Hunter Sand to the basket over the front of the rim. Hunter Sand with 6. 89-66 as the lead is cut to 5. Jace Kelly into the front court, working right side for Limke, down to Slothog, jump stop to the basket, scoring. Ethan Slothog now with 14. And the lead again cut to 21 at 89-68. We'll see the Vikings start going to work on the clock a little bit. We'll see Hebrink running over towards the near sideline. Wants to set the play near edge. He'll drive away from a screen, looks left side. Sand for 3, comes up off the heel of the rim. Rebound towards the top of the key, deflected. Tingham comes down with it. He looks off a defender, ran right into a man in the lane. Is going to be called for an offensive foul. Will Tingham will pick up his second. And here comes some starters for the Vikings. Devontae Munson, Edmund Oyette, Duth Gotch, but they're seniors as well. So they're going to come into the game for the Vikings. They'll replace Keaton Quilvang, Hunter Sand, and Will Tingham. Those guys get a nice round of applause from the Viking faithful that are here. 4.5 to play. Good crowds this weekend. Valley City's turned out well for these. Holloway, a deep three, is off the heel. And a rebound comes down with Ethan Slawdog for Dakota State. He'll look back to the wing. Limke, a three that's challenged. That's in and out. And Tate Hebrink with the board for Valley City State. 89-68, the Vikings by 21. Devontae Munson up front. Hebrink, no looking to Schlottman. He wants a bucket bad. The shot no good. Oyette the rebound, back to Hebrink. And the Vikings go back to work with a shot clock at 15 seconds. Game clock will tick under 4 as the Vikings look to grab their 8th conference victory, 6 in their last 8 tries, and they look to stay in that 3rd place tie in the conference. Schlottman again for 3. This one again no good. They're trying everything they can to get Matt Schlottman a chance to score on this senior day. Trojans into the front court. Josh Holloway looking to break the lead under 20 now. Holloway a stop, a look in towards the right side, kicks it out near wing for Limke. Limke a stop against Edmund Oyette, steps away from some pressure, looking to go down the near sideline, found Slaughthog, back to Limke on top. Limke moving his way towards an empty right side of the floor, sends down to the corner for Kelly, ball knocked loose. Kelly got it back, into the post. Edwards trying to back in on Schlottman, left the ball behind. Oyette picks it up the floor to Duth Gotch, and he can't quite run it down. Ball trickles out of bounds, and we'll go back to Dakota State with 3:14 left in the second half. So again, the question would be, the NFHS goes to that more NBA or international rule, and college women's basketball to that rule. When do the college men follow suit? Holloway, high arcing three again. Holloway will knock down a three-point shot from the wing. He's got 12 in the second half, all on threes, and the Viking lead checked to 18 at 89-71 with just under 3 to play. But we could be in that situation. I like the way that the college women play the game. I personally wouldn't mind seeing everything go to quarter. Schlottman for 3, that again no good. An offensive rebound for Devontae Munson for the Vikings, turns it back to the perimeter. The men's game, I think, could be a little bit better, not the free throw fest that some games can turn into. Now Schlottman into the post. Here comes an offensive foul. Just knocks Edwards out of the way. They've done everything they can to get Schlottman a chance to score the basketball here, and he has just missed some threes, and that time got called for a foul. Duth Gotch will come out of the game for the Vikings. Hunter Sand will take another rotation in there for him. With 2:34 to go, the Trojans will let the ball roll. Now here's the thing, 2.5 minutes and the lead 18, they score here. They can cut it down to potentially 15 points, and you start kind of putting some doubt into this again, right? I mean, there shouldn't be any doubt in it right now, but you've watched that score whittle down from 32 to 18, and you just kind of know that in college basketball, right? Holloway set out of the corner. He stepped on the sideline trying to get a 3 away. And the ball will go back to the Vikings. And we'll see another rotation for Keaton Quilvang coming on to replace Devontae Munson. Munson with a big day. 20 points today for Devontae. One of those seniors that's leading. He's going to be all conference for the 2nd consecutive year. Really came on in the second half as the scoring leader, while a number of Vikings developed around him, and that defense came together so that the Vikings could put this run of victories together. Tingham comes back into the game for the Vikings. Schlottman will inbound to Tate Hebrink, and the Vikings have the same rotation on the floor that they had before those 3 seniors came out. And I'll tell you what, this is Ryan Montgomery, a class act here. He's giving all of his seniors an opportunity to check out in front of the crowd, and that's really nice to see. Tingham back to the basket, kicking out. Schlottman for 3. That one again, no good, off the heel of the rip. Rebound comes out to Jace Kelly. Under 2 minutes to play. Kelly back into the front court. The Vikings leading by 18 at 89-71. Holloway looking for some help out on the top of the key for Dakota State. Limke for 3 right side. That's good. Boy, we're finding out there's some guys on the back end of this rotation for both teams that can play. Limke hits the 7-3 of the second half for the Trojans, and we'll see a timeout for substitution as the lead is down to 89-74. Tate Hebrink will come off the floor, and Caden Rickard comes in for him. And Tate Hebrink gets a hand from the crowd as he comes off the floor for the Vikings here on Senior Day. Inbounds pass will come in from Will Tingham for the Vikings. He'll send it into the back court. 1.5 minutes to go. The Vikings will try to finish up their 8th win of the conference season and look for something inside. Here's Schlottman to the basket. He can't get a layup to go down. High-low play. They found Schlottman inside. He's going to go to the foul line, though. Jace Kelly will commit the foul. And the Vikings are going to finish things up today with a freshman getting into the game that the student section stands up for. This is a Valley City native by the name of Peyton Zahn that's at the scorer's table, ready to check in for the Vikings. Come on, Matt, hit a foul shot, get on the scoreboard today. There it is. Matt Schlottman's on the scoreboard with his first. Hunter Sand checks off, and here comes Peyton Zahn, and this crowd loves Hunter Sand. He has had such a great run here for Valley City State. He's going to be a wonderful ambassador for this school going forward. Small town kid out of North Dakota, came here and did it for 4 years and has done extremely well. Schlottman knocks down the back end as well. The Vikings lead 91-74. And we see Peyton Zahn, a 6'3 freshman out of Valley City, checking into the game for the first time here tonight as well. Slawdog on the top of the key. Near side taken up by Limke for Dakota State. And a kicked basketball by Tingham will keep it Dakota State basketball. If you've ever talked to Hunter Sand, there is just absolutely no reason not to love that kid to death. I umpired some baseball games for him when he was playing at Nelson County here at Valley City State. He's just been the true mark of a champion. He's taken on a bench role this year after a starting role last year. And I'll tell you what, when the Vikings were in foul trouble against Presentation College, he saved the day in that matchup with that huge first half performance at 12 points. The Vikings force a turnover. Caden Rickard comes away with the basketball. Here's a three on the way for Quilvang that's missed. Rebound to Peyton Zahn. He'll get a board. He spins and scores. Listen to this Viking crowd. Love the bench players getting in. And now Zahn gets back defensively and forces a takeaway from Slawdog, who got position on the baseline. So this will finish with a Valley City native, Peyton Zahn, coming up with a bucket, and the Vikings will bring it into the front court with 20 seconds to play and 17 on the shot clock. Caden Rickard's going to dribble it out, and the Vikings are going to pick up a big win over Dakota State. The crowd comes to life here, loving what they've done. This is a group of Vikings that really enjoyed playing here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. You can see it. Rickard will hand the ball to an official with a shot clock violation, and the Viking crowd comes to life one more time for this Valley City State team at the end of this 2022-23 season. 2 seconds left. The Trojans will inbound. Limke will send it into Holloway, and Holloway will get a shot away at the horn. It is no good, and the Vikings win it by a final score of 93-74. The Vikings with the win this afternoon will stay in a third-place tie in the North Star Athletic Association. They will improve to 8-5. They've won 6 of their last 8 conference games. They're now 15-12. Dakota State will fall to 5-8. They will fall to 11-16 overall. Dakota State now will fall out of the running to move up in the standings. So this game, barring the result between Waldorf and Mayville State, which right now Mayville State leads by 16 late, this should put Dakota State firmly in the number 6 spot in the conference. And if the Vikings can finish third with a win against Dickinson State next week, they would host this Dakota State team in the opening round of the NSAA tournament. Again, your final score from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse today, the Vikings 93, the Trojans 74. Our post-game wrap-up and our Player of the Game award next on Viking basketball here on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
This is Hannah Wieland, a freshman at Valley City State University. The V500 scholarship members' generosity and commitment is exactly the kind of community involvement we need to keep VCSU going strong. The many scholarships provided are a testament to the support of the alumni, family, and friends of VCSU. Please keep expanding the opportunities available to enhance the lives of the next generation and make a difference for attracting future Vikings by supporting scholarships online at give.vcsu.edu or by calling the VCSU Foundation.
No matter where you live, you should have access to high-quality health care. Jamestown Regional Medical Center's orthopedic and sports medicine team offers care for hips, shoulders, knees, and toes. When an injury occurs, teams need care quickly. That's why the JRMC orthopedic team promises same-day and next-day appointments. Schedule direct at jrmcnd.com or call 952-4878.
Jamestown Regional Medical Center will never stop building for you.
Rambo, a proud sponsor and fan of Viking Athletics, has been serving North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota with quality logoed apparel and promotional products since 1979. With online store options built to meet the needs of your company, organization, or team, Rambo will ensure that the process of ordering is easy and accurate and that your items are received on time. When you're ready to put your logo to work, give Matt a call at 701-680-9585. Rambo, we're in the business of making you look good.
Well, it's a pretty happy Valley City State University Viking crowd that will go home today. Entertaining game for the Vikings. They take a 30-point lead, coast on to victory, getting everybody the opportunity to play here at the end of the season on Senior Day. And Valley City State will grab their 8th win of the conference this afternoon by a final score of 93-74 over Dakota State, avenging an earlier season loss inside league play. We welcome you back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Viking basketball today here on the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC. This was a very fun Valley City State University basketball team to watch throughout the course of the season. And the Vikings sending 8 players away, and they do it in fine fashion today with maybe one of their better efforts, maybe their best effort of the season in that 93-74 win over the Trojans. The Vikings have now won 6 of 8 conference games. They're going to stay in a third-place tie as they get ready to try to keep that third-place spot with a win over Dickinson State coming up on Thursday. We're joined in the post-game report by Viking head coach Ryan Montgomery, the head coach of Valley City State. Coach, I know that you deal with different things during the game as far as ebbs and flows of momentum, but just from a general standpoint, I don't know that you can draw up a better senior day. You've got a good crowd. You play extremely well. You build up a big lead. You get everybody to get their due going in and coming off. Everybody scores. I mean, really just a great way to wrap up. No matter what happens in the tournament, it's a great way to wrap up sort of a home run for the Vikings this year.
Yeah, it was great. These 8 guys have done so much for this program in the last 3 years, and I just felt like I don't care if we win by 1, if we win by 20, 30, whatever it might have been tonight, as long as everybody gets their chance to show themselves out on the floor. I feel like that's a successful night, and we did that. And honestly, I'm kind of tearing up just talking about them. You're good kids. They're good kids.
I mean, there's 8 guys that are going to depart the program. You know, one thing that I think I'd like to ask you about, because, you know, I came back to this and I didn't have a chance to see you the last couple of years. I saw you in a road game at Mayville State last season.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. It was good for you. It certainly was, yeah. But, you know, in watching these guys at home, teams take on certain personalities as the season goes along. And one of the things that seemed to come to the forefront is that these guys from all over the region, right? A lot of Minnesota, some North Dakota in there, some Illinois.
Yeah, we got one Florida guy and one Illinois guy. Yeah. That's about the furthest it gets.
Yeah, yep. But they really seem to enjoy playing here. They really seem to embrace this gym as their home gym, and that doesn't happen with every team, but it seemed to happen with this one this season.
Yeah, you know, we've played really well at home this year, and that's why we're fighting for that home playoff game so hard. But again, I think they just enjoy playing in front of their families. I think they enjoy playing in front of their home fans. We want a family-like atmosphere here, and I think we've built that. And that took a lot of work and a lot of time. We wanted a lot of region area kids, and so when they're graduated, they can come back and celebrate with each other for multiple years. And I think we've done that. And again, it's going to be hard to see certain guys leave, but it's also good to see them after and see them come back and enjoy themselves again. So
let's break down the game itself. You forced 6 turnovers in the first 8.5 minutes.
Okay.
You scored on just about all of those. You really established your defensive game plan. They hit you a couple of times early. Pretty soon you completely isolated the baseline. And Hunter Lyman, I thought, won the battle early against Ronnie Ladding inside. I was looking forward to that matchup, but those were some early keys, and you saw really good results there.
Yeah, I mean, we talked extensively about what they did to us the first time, and we had to adapt. And, this year has been all about seeing how people are going to play us the first time against the zone and having to adjust in the second game. We were figuring that out, and we made a couple tweaks to our zone, and I think that really affected things. Offensively, we wanted to make sure that they do a good job of trying to keep you on a side, and we wanted to make sure we got downhill versus them early, and I thought we did. We achieved that.
I've seen Devontae Munson play well this year at times, but I thought he played with a different level of determination in the first half. He had some extra spring, whether it was senior night or just the desperation of a season coming to an end. Boy, he is peaking at the right time for you, isn't he?
He's a good basketball player, and I've said that since he got here. I was excited to have him. You know, his first year he went through a little eligibility issue, and we got him in the second half, so we got his feet wet late. And then last year it was a heartbreaking thing, but he had a knee issue in the off season, and we didn't get him till second semester again. And he was a big-time spark for us down the stretch last year to make it to the semis. Did a lot of good stuff, and I was really excited about having him back for a full year for once. And he's starting to figure out that he's our go-to guy. And you know, I'm proud of him. Was a little worried about the energy earlier today. They looked a little tired after that good emotional win last night. But they surprised me. I hope they surprised everybody else. They had a lot of legs tonight.
Caden Rickard, he's really having a nice – I mean, he's become a scorer. I think that, you know, maybe he's decided to shed the role of a guy that's going to be just a point guard. When you have a scoring point guard, that takes your team up a step in college basketball, high school basketball, doesn't matter what level. When you got a point guard that can do that, he's manufacturing some things for other guys and also scoring right now. It's a huge step in his game. He is starting to see the floor better and better every game. We worked on some things earlier today just to kind of help him against their double and their ice. And he did those things, and that's a very good sign as a head coach, is to see your point guard make those adjustments game to game and start understanding the game is with a high IQ. As we wrap up, the guy that got the loudest ovation that came off the floor tonight was Hunter Sand. Yeah. And I mentioned that there is not going to be a better ambassador for Viking athletics, for Valley City State going out into the world than that kid from Pekin, North Dakota. That is a heck of a guy, and it was so pleasing to see the crowd acknowledge that, wasn't it? He's had some big moments for you this year, but just his changing of roles and doing everything you ask him to do and then doing it at a high level. Yep. And the crowd understands that, and they appreciate it. Yeah, I'm tearing up thinking about Hunter because he's been through the ringer here. He's been on good teams, he's been on bad teams, and he's stuck it all the way through. He's gone through some health issues here and there this year in the off season, and he has battled, and I fluctuate his playing time a lot, and I know it's hard. It really is. College basketball is hard. And like you said, another better ambassador of VCSU, there is none. There will never be a better one. And now you can try to tie him. I can say that. But there will never be. You'd have to be president of the United States. I mean, that's who he is. He's a great person. I'm really looking forward to seeing his future and how he develops and where he goes and how he's going to be a future good leader around this area. And then finally, so now it's to Dickinson State, and I guess here's what lays out if we've got it figured correctly. You beat Dickinson State, you're going to be the 3 seed, and I think that kind of matters because Dickinson probably finishes 5, Dakota State 6. You would have this game again at home, and I think you'd take this game again at home the way it played out here today. So there's a lot on the line still in that final game of the regular season next week. Yeah, and I have no idea what's going to happen. This conference is tough, man. It is day in, day out. You have no idea what's going to happen. We got to go see what the scores lined up today, and then we got to go out to Dickinson, a tough basketball team out there, good coach, and we got to figure out how to get a win on the road. And it's going to be a tough one, and that's our first and foremost priority. Then we can figure out the playoffs from there. Well, Ryan, this is a team that you've put together, and you manufactured some really fine moments here today at the end of a regular season at home. We got to experience it. This is a fun team to watch. Crowd always got their money's worth and then some when they came out. Congratulations on a great season, no matter how it turns out. And then good luck coming up on Thursday, and thank you for the time here tonight. I appreciate your coverage, and let's get a home playoff game. Absolutely, let's do that. Ryan, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan Montgomery joining us, the head coach of the Viking men's basketball team here tonight as the Vikings celebrate a 93-74 victory this evening over Dakota State to move and stay in that number 3 spot in the North Star Athletic Association. Let's take a look at our individual numbers and wrap it up with our Player of the Game award here tonight. First of all, for Dakota State, 22 points, 6 rebounds for Sam Muller. He leads the way, and that was the one player that the Vikings really had a hard time defending until Josh Holloway got in the game and hit 4 threes all in the second half. He's got 22 points tonight, but the scoring really drops off from there. Deshaun Kelly, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 6 points for Brett Limke. Ronnie Ladding had 4 and played only 10 minutes and 32 seconds the first half. Didn't see the floor in the second half. Chris Morales with 3. Jace Kelly with 3. Taylor Edwards with 3. And also, I believe there was a 2-pointer in there. There was not. That will do the scoring. for Dakota State. For Valley City State, 20 points, 8 rebounds for Devontae Munson, 18 points and 3 rebounds for Duth Gotch. Caden Rickard with 15 points and 2 rebounds as well. And everybody scored today, I believe, except Tate Hebrink. Hebrink did not score. He started, but he didn't score today. Everybody else gets points in the game, and Tate Hebrink set the majority of his second half trying to get all of the other seniors that checked in an opportunity to score. Joe Owens, 8 points and 4 rebounds. Edmund Oyette, 7 points and 6 rebounds this afternoon. Hunter Lyman with 5 points and 5 rebounds. He didn't play a lot in the second half either. Hunter Sand with 6 points and 4 rebounds as well. Going from there, Cleveland Bedgood with 4 points. Will Tingham with 4 points. Matt Schlotman with 2. Peyton Zahn with 2. Keaton Quilvang ended up with 2 as well. All of those seniors getting into the game with an opportunity to score, which was really good to see. And the Vikings win it by a final score of 93-74. Our final order of business is our Player of the Game Award, brought to you by Ivy Real Estate Group. They are your local real estate brokerage in Valley City. They bring you the Player of the Game Award after every Viking and every Highlander basketball game. And our Player of the Game Award today, and we'll explain it, is going to be Hunter Sand. And I know that Devontae Munson went out there and scored 20 points and 8 rebounds, and Devontae's won that award over and over again this year, and he deserves it again today. But when we have a senior day and we start talking about ambassadors for Valley City State and guys that are going to put in 4 solid years of work and do the thing, he deserves that, because that's something that he's going to take with him. And I know that Hunter has enjoyed every minute that he spent in a Viking basketball uniform, and that award is going to mean as much to him as it's going to mean to us tonight. So Hunter Sand will be our Player of the Game Award winner, a senior out of Pekin, North Dakota. Compliments of Ivy Real Estate Group.